And hello, everybody. How's it going? It's Annette the Peacemaker. We're here on YGRL, the Yang Gang Report Live. And I am Annette the Peacemaker. And this is my very dear friend and our very special guest, Anita Noel Green. And today I'm going to let Anita talk about, hold on a minute. I am going to let Anita tell, oh, here's Faye. Tell the audience who she is and what she is about and her history, and then we will talk. Anita first. Sure. Wait, Anita, this is Faye Koo, and Faye,
Hi,
this
Anita.
is my dear friend Anita.
Hi. I'm in my preparation phase, but I see that we're live already.
Yeah.
This is my entire preparation for the show, guys. I brush my hair. And then if it doesn't turn out, I put a hat on.
All right. Well, Anita was just about to tell us who she is and why she's here and stuff like that. So let's her talk.
All right, my name is Anita Noel Green, and I am a Twitch streamer. I'm also on YouTube, and I'm all over social media. I have a fair amount of political experience, ranging back from my days in college, and I served on my student Senate body. That was a big part of my political experience. And then I ran for city council. And after that, elected as Montana's first openly transgender national delegate to a nominating convention. I also served on the executive board for a local Democratic chapter for over 3 years. And I mentioned that I'm on Twitch and I do a lot of political discussions. I also have a degree, I will mention, in sociology with an emphasis in inequality and social justice, and a minor in communication studies.
Anita is very vocal. And I love that about her because I am that way too. I love how vocal you are. I really do. Like, you have a fire in your belly that I deeply admire. Mm-hmm. And so Anita and I have known each other for some years now, probably, 5-6 years. I don't know. And so Bernie. Anita is a Bernie supporter, and I used to be a very strong Bernie supporter too. So, and what is interesting about, so we all in the Yang Gang have experienced, it's just been really tough. Like, some of the Bernie supporters have been really, really hard on the Yang Gang specifically. And it's been really frustrating. And Anita, all along, has always not been that.
Really hard for me to hear.
Oh, let me sit back a little bit. Maybe I'm too close.
No.
Is it better if I'm back here a little further?
It's just cutting out a lot. And I noticed that it happened when Faye joined the call. And I don't know if that has something to do with it. It's hard for me to mention.
So I can hear,
it's just really choppy.
So I can hear both of you pretty well. So it's interesting that sometimes when you're on these calls, our personal internet connections can be a real problem. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm the one skipping. So I don't really know. I think that it does end up translating in the recording. It comes out smooth. When I have viewed our videos after the live,
you very well at all.
So I'm
really
going to
choppy.
suggest.
It's really cutting out
I'm going to suggest that
for both of you.
Anita, can you leave and come back in and see if you can get a better connection, because you're having trouble hearing both of us, and Annette and I can hear each other very well, and you.
Okay.
Try getting a new connection. There you go. All right. So, yep, have a lot of, live streaming is like this. It's not always smooth, but we will get there. So I'm really excited that you have brought Anita today.
Yes, me too. So what I was saying, I can still say that whether she's here or not, is that so we admittedly have had a lot of challenges with the Bernie supporters along the way, and Anita has always been above the fray in that department. Like, she's always been able to have a civil conversation, even when we're disagreeing with each other about something that we're very passionate about. She does not resort to insults. She is she speaks logically, and she's just been a really good friend through this very challenging election cycle. And I think the fact that I used to support Bernie matters also, so I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think that, I think it's possible to support multiple people, right? I mean, I think,
Sure.
Hi, Anita, can you hear us now?
Yes. So
Does that sound any better? Good.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes there's a little lag too. So if you hear us, it's there's a little bit of a lag. So sometimes it seems like we're talking over each other, and it's just because we're in different places, and we're far away from each other and stuff. So it is what it is. We roll with it. That's why we're so casual about it, and we're just like, whatever, it's cool.
Sure.
I'm super excited to meet you today, Anita.
You as well.
I'm sort of meeting you for the first time, at least in video.
So we were talking about that while you were out, Anita. I was saying that how even with all of the challenges that the Yang Gang has had with a portion of the Bernie clan, you have always stood above the fray. You've stayed above the fray, and you've never really participated in that kind of bullying, or that's just not your tactic. That's not your MO, and how I've always just really appreciated that, because we can still disagree and always still find something to agree upon, and so I feel like right now,
Annette, the other day we were talking, and I asked her how we can find somebody from the Bernie camp who's a ardent supporter, and maybe talk some unity now that we're going forward. Andrew's definitely out. Bernie has definitely decided to drop out, and so we're we're all just humans again. We're just humans together, and we want to be able to talk to each other and be able to find our commonalities. I mean, there's definitely stuff we have in common, probably more than we have in differences, and see where we can go with that, because we've been really good in the gang in bringing in people who were formerly Trump. And I don't know if Bernie's camp has been similar, that we bring in more young people and more, people who are just disaffected, or people who are dissatisfied with the establishment, even if they were formerly Republicans. And I think in common. And so it's weird that we have so much trouble talking to each other when we're supposedly at least on the same party and all calling ourselves progressives. So that's the point at which Annette said, I know someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned your name. I name dropped you in the last video, the last live stream that we did. I totally name dropped you. Yeah, I did. It was the podcasters discussing podcasting or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But so part of the result of the events that have followed since our candidates, since Joe Biden has become the presumptive nominee, is that there's that demand that vote blue no matter who, and there's like an aggressive demand that everybody has to vote for Joe Biden. And there are many of us who do not agree with that. And then they'll say, yeah, but your guy endorsed him. Well, I don't endorse him. My guy is free to endorse whomever he pleases, as am I. Right? So
yeah,
I am just as free to choose whomever I want to vote for as Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. It doesn't matter to me what their endorsement is. It matters what mine is. It matters what matters to me is what matters, like what's in my heart, what's in my soul. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
I'm going to let Anita go first.
Okay. Is my audio cutting out? Because your audio is cutting out again.
Well, I've got my mute button, and I mute myself. So while I'm not talking, the noise from my son's computer is not causing trouble.
And I can't mute myself because it mutes the whole stream. So I have to leave mine on always. Because I tried that before and then nobody can hear anything.
Yeah.
So
I thought there's like it's really choppy. The audio is cutting out, and I just wasn't sure if mine was, but if it's not, I'll continue.
You're fine. I can hear you.
We hear you very well.
Yep, we can hear you.
You can hear me all right?
And not only that, your video is showing up super clear, more clear than Annette's. So it's very interesting.
Okay. All right. I'll build off of what I heard you already state. So yeah, so you brought up an interesting point, and a point that I agree with. So yes, I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter. I'm also going to note something though. Bernie Sanders was my compromise vote. I want somebody who's more progressive than Bernie, but I was compromising by supporting Bernie because I'm a leftist. And ideally, I would like somebody who's even more progressive than Bernie. And Bernie Sanders is free to endorse whoever he wants. I'm not going to blindly just follow him. And sounds like you and I agree with that. Andrew Yang, as we all know, endorsed Joe Biden. I don't care. I'm not going to vote Joe Biden. I'm not going to be shamed into that. And quite frankly, I think that voting are being abusive. And I don't say that lightly either. I think I honestly mean that. Abuse comes in many forms. And when people say to me, for example, that I plan on voting for Howie Hawkins now in the general election. Howie Hawkins is with the Green Party, and I fully intend to vote for him. And somebody says to me that a third party vote, a wasted vote, I don't appreciate that. Or they will also say that a third party vote is a vote for Trump. or they will say, if you vote for anybody else other than Biden, you are voting for Trump. Truth is, that's gaslighting. That's just objectively untrue. A third party vote is a third party vote. And it's gaslighting when you say that, when you're saying something that isn't truly based in reality. They may believe that, but to force me into taking on that belief is inappropriate, and it's quite frankly abusive. And I don't respect it when people say that to me. And I have valid reasons for not wanting to vote for Joe Biden. I look at the past record. I'm well aware of Biden's experience, and he made some, from where I'm staying, he made egregious choices. For example, he voted against gay marriage effectively when he voted in favor of DOMA in 1996. He also voted in favor of the war in Iraq. And he later said that he did that because the Bush administration lied. And the thing is, for example, Bernie Sanders said that he saw through the lies of the Bush administration, and that's why he voted against the war. So it shows that Joe Biden is foolish, and he later said that he believed those lies that the Bush administration was about supporting this war. And to me, it shows that he's naive and stupid. Honestly, is what it comes down to. That he was too stupid to see lies of the Bush administration, and then that's just going in to some look at more problematic things like what Tara Reid is saying. I believe her. I believe Tara Reid, and I think it's important to victims, and that's reason enough. Like, all those reasons alone, I think, are valid reasons not to vote for somebody. His record, even if you cast one bad vote, that is reason enough. That is a valid enough reason to not vote for someone. And but then, like, all of this together shows that he's, from perspective and he lacks independent thought, and he's not a leader, he's a follower. And and then going forward, so when somebody's accused of sexual assault, that's a big deal. And if we take a look, well, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling right now. So
No.
I know that fake thoughts, so I can let
it feels like that. You get that feeling when you're not getting answers back, when you feel like you're in a conversation and the other two are very quiet. So we'll try to pull up our end. But we are listening very intently to what you're saying. That's why.
Definitely. And I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. Everything you are saying is exactly how I feel. So keep going, girl.
So we don't want to turn this into like a Biden bashing party. We all have problems with things that Biden has done. But I think there's people who are saying that pragmatically, they feel that, if we do vote for somebody else, Biden may not get the number of votes that he needs to beat Trump, and they feel that beating is more important. So, and that whole pragmatic sort of stance, and we don't shove down our throats repeatedly. That's what it is that, the logic behind that is very simple. It does not need to be said over and over. We just don't agree with, that being more important than anything else. Sometimes voting has to be it feels very personal to to actually, actually bubble in someone that you may not fully support.
Hang out too much for even in what you're saying. I'm gonna have to leave and I can't hear what you're saying.
Maybe try
It's cutting out for me too
headphones,
much.
Anita. Do you have earbuds or headphones? Maybe that might help. Maybe that might make a difference.
I think it might be the internet connection download portion. Because one interesting thing about the internet is that the download speed and the upload speed are two different things. And sometimes they can be, one is bad and the other one is good. Because Anita is coming in really clearly for us, but she's not getting our information. So somehow the stream is not working for her.
I'll be right back.
So what she was saying, though, is that it does feel like abuse. Okay, so one of my reasons when she was talking about the sexual assault allegations, and you just said yourself how it's like very personal to some people. I am a survivor of sexual assault, multiple sexual assaults. Okay, so like that's a very big deal to me. I tend to believe that person as well because I've been that person, and so what it feels abusive because like I'm not ashamed or afraid to say that this is why. Like, no, I have been sexually assaulted. I cannot vote for somebody who has been accused of sexual assault. I cannot. And then people will say, oh, but Trump has this many allegations against him, and Trump this and Trump that, or it's only hair sniffing. Or I was also molested as a child, and a very young child. And I remember it all very vividly as if it happened yesterday. I'm 50 years old and I could tell you every single thing about that event. And so when I see him touch little girls the way that he does, that's like a huge, enormous trigger for me. Enormous. And then people want me to just like dismiss that. Yeah, but Trump's just so bad. And so that's gaslighting me. That's gaslighting my experience. Like, I know what I see. I know how it makes me feel. And when you dismiss how my feelings about it, you're dismissing my experiences and my trauma. And that's not fair to me or any other survivor of sexual assault or child molestation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it brings me, I've been broken down to tears because people just hound me about it, like they're relentless. Like, you must do it. And then they try to guilt trip you on top of that. Well, if you don't, well, then I guess you just support Trump then, and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, because I don't support him doesn't mean that I support this one. It's not like that black and white. I can support or not support whoever the hell I want.
Of course. Well, of course, there's two sides to that too. I mean, if you do vote for him, then the Trump side will be saying, hey, so you guys are all going to vote for this one guy when you're saying that we do, the same thing, that there's sort of a moral equivalence, like, so you've been complaining all this time about us, but you're okay when your guy does it, So, but the thing is, we don't necessarily, I don't know if all of these allegations are true or not, but, and that's another, Zephyr.
Well, it is a serious allegation and it needs to be taken seriously. And just because he says it didn't happen, oh no, that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure the guy who assaulted me would probably say that it didn't happen and that I'm making it all up. Chances are,
Right.
you know. So
the question is whether I can really trust this person, and obviously everybody has a different answer for that right now. And I don't think it's fair to, you know, it's fair to say that your assessment is better than every other person. So
I'm not saying
based on
better.
what we know, we don't have enough information.
I'm not saying it's better, but it's mine, you know? So you are free to have your own assessment. You can assess it however you like based on your own experiences and history and emotions and feelings, you know? You're free to, if you want to vote for him, vote for him. I don't care. I'm not mad that other people are going to vote for him. It's okay. They can. If I choose not to, that is also okay. And the guilting and the shaming is not okay. So that was the point that, that we really
absolutely
to get across.
Yeah, that's
like this is something.
go ahead. That's where I'm at too. Like if you want to vote for Biden because you think that's the right thing to do it. Whatever. But don't tell me that it's wrong if I don't agree with you. That's what I'm getting at is I am going to vote my conscience. And I think that's what everybody should do. I think that everybody should conscience. And that's what I will be doing so my state hasn't actually had the primary yet. I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders in the primary still because he's ballot. So he's still gathering delegates. And I will vote for him in the primary. But then in the general election, I am voting for Howie Hawkins. And I don't appreciate it when people shame me for that and they gaslight me. God, and I just can't. When people say, I think that a lot of people don't understand how harmful gaslighting is. It is a form of abuse. It really is. And it's a serious thing to do to somebody. And it's not okay.
We might need to define that term. We might need to define the term of gaslighting since we're using it, you know, multiple times. Because probably some of the people who do it have no idea what gaslighting means.
That cut out a little bit. You were talking about gaslighting.
She wants you to define gaslighting.
I might ask.
Gaslighting.
Oh, define gaslighting. So gaslighting is when you make a person question insanity, when you make them question reality. And that's not okay to do. I mean, when you say to somebody, a third party vote is a vote for Trump, that is not in reality. It's not. And it's not a vote either. The objective truth about voting third party is that you're voting third party. That's not voting for Trump. And so when somebody says that a third party vote is a vote for Trump, that is gaslighting. It's not true. And people like to say that it is. And honestly, it's old, recycled rhetoric that all of us have heard, but it just isn't true. And quite frankly, it's abusive.
Okay, now what about this? What if you decide not to vote at all in the general election because you don't like any of the choices there? And you're like, I am no longer engaged with this system, and I don't think this vote would help. Or maybe you write in somebody else that, you know is not going to win, but you just want to write that person in so that you could say, this is what I chose. This is the person I chose for president. knowing, logically we know this is probably not going to be sufficient to bring that person to presidency, but morally and emotionally, this is the right thing to do for you. Is it? A lot of people will say, oh, since you didn't vote, then you can't complain for the next 4 years. What do you think about that? Annette, do you want to say something? Or? Yeah, why don't you talk, Annette, and Anita will understand better.
Okay, so my thoughts on that are, I somewhat agree with the if you don't vote, then you don't get to complain. Okay, I will always vote. So right now, my choice is, I've narrowed down my choices to writing in Andrew Yang, because that's my voting my conscience. And that's the voice that I want to be heard. Or I will choose a third party candidate, and I'm still in the process of researching third parties. I've looked at Howie Hawkins, I've looked at him, and I haven't made any decisions, and I have many months to make a decision. I have many months. I don't have to make a decision till I walk into the voting booth or fill out my hopefully mail-in vote, if we're still quarantined or whatever. So like, I really am not going to make a definitive commitment until all the cards are on the table. I've done all of my research and I've looked into everybody's histories. I pick up on vibes a lot. Like, I've been picking up on the creepy Uncle Joe vibe for a long time. This is not new. It's not because of this election. I've been aware of it for a long time. So, when he jumped into the race, when he said he was going to run, I was just like, oh, it was like the most sinking feeling, because then I was like, it's going to be him. It's all over. It's all over. And as hard as I still pushed for Yang and stuff like that, I still knew the day that he jumped in, I'm like, there it is. There's their pick. And so I understand the disenfranchised voter who doesn't want to participate anymore. I get that way. I do. God, I do. Like, I just want to just say F it all and just turn off the dang internet or whatever. Just start looking at puppies and kittens again on social media. I don't know. But then I feel like that if you ignore it, then you are complicit in allowing it to continue. Like, it can't be ignored. So I am.
Did you understand what was discussed, Anita, based on what Annette is saying? Can you hear us well enough to participate, or?
I'm gonna ask you guys. So if you want to ask me, if the audio is cutting out so much, can you type it into chat?
Yes.
My chat's difficult. I'm gonna let Annette do it.
Able to of what you.
So Annette is going to type to you that the question is, what people who decide not to vote and at all because they are just all possible states they no longer are interested in, or if they do a write-in.
I can't understand. You're gonna have to type it in chat. I can't catch quite what you're saying.
I'm typing.
Type it live stream chat. Okay.
So I'm going go ahead and say a couple things here, which is that for me personally, I respect people who vote. I don't that is an invalid choice either. I think that all of the choices that people make right now are valid because the vote, we put too much emphasis on it. You know, in election is not just that one moment when you vote. It is and it isn't. You know, we've spent a whole year trying to get Andrew Yang elected. And we have spent a whole year trying to people to hear things. And I think that Bernie's camp is the same way. As we have spent a lot of time this year being engaged in other ways besides voting. And for example, doing this live stream. You know, we are talking to more people and more influence than just that one vote. There's a lot more people who may have made their decisions based on information that they've heard here. So let's go to, now that we have the information up, let's go to Anita.
Do you see that, Anita?
Okay. So I see the question. So what disenfranchised voters who refuse to participate in the process? So if you don't want to participate, that's your choice. I can respect that. I hope that everyone will participate and vote because I believe that every single vote matters, because your vote is your voice and your voice matters. I think it sends me, honestly, when somebody says, well, my vote doesn't matter, because you're in effect saying my voice doesn't matter, and your voice does matter. And if you want to write in somebody's name, go ahead. I still don't know how that affects. I've read in threads that if you're not campaigning at all, if you're not campaigning as a writing kit, then it doesn't count as a vote. And I'm not sure any clarity on that, but that is what I've read from certain people. But I mean, if you still want to write in somebody's name because you feel it's the right thing to do, then I mean, go ahead and do that. I hope that everybody will vote. I understand though if people feel disenfranchised and feel like not participating. I get it. I just hope that people will look into other candidates as well. Because there are a lot of other third-party candidates that people say that you don't get to campaign the next 4 years. Well, yeah, you can. I think that you can. Yeah.
I think that's kind of accurate. You know, like you need to participate. You got to play to win. You know, if you want any change, you need to participate in creating the change that you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. And that includes participating in society. I mean, it's just part of being an American. Like, you need to know what the hell's going on around you. Like, I get really frustrated with. Go ahead.
For me, I feel like but voting is such a small part of that participation. And I think we have too much of an emphasis on that one moment. What about all those down ballot candidates you never bothered to research, you know? And what about, you know, not having time to participate in other ways? Like, you could be engineering a solution out of some of the problems. The problems can be legislative, but you can also be an engineer and be thinking of creative solutions. You could be, you know, teaching people about about. There's just so many ways to participate in politics, and I think we need to embrace all of them them and not like say, oh, just that, if you don't vote, you still got every day of your life, you still have something political you could be doing, right? You could be donating, you could be volunteering, you could be talking to people, having that conversation at the table with your own family. Like for me, I'm like, I love that my 6-year-old is learning about politics so early, because I certainly did not, as a kid, learn anything about politics. I don't know, what was your parents have any relationship to politics when you were growing up? Maybe you could put that on the screen for Anita.
I heard something like, what was my relationship with my parents growing up and what were their political beliefs? Is that correct?
So my question is, were your parents political, and did they teach you as a child? Is that why you're engaged in other people?
Okay, let me see it.
There.
Parents involved with politics when you were growing up. My parents, they vocalized too much what their politics were with us. They just said that they were Republican, and that's basically as far as it went. They didn't try to tell us too much how to think in regards to politics. That just wasn't something that really happened. Yeah, I don't really recall that ever happening in my household. But, yeah, I do not agree. Well, I don't know where my dad stands politically nowadays. Anymore, but my mom is not always strictly a Republican voter. I've come to realize because she did tell me that she voted for Ross Perot back in the day, and she also she acknowledges the faults of other people, and so I've talked to her. She doesn't blindly support any particular party. She did vote for Donald Trump, as did many other people, and her reasoning was, I'm sure she had a lot of reasons. Part she just didn't like Hillary Clinton, and I also wanted to mention something. I wanted to briefly talk about Hillary Clinton. So I voted for Jill Stein last presidential election cycle, and I'm glad I did. And in regards to Hillary Clinton, as problematic as she was, I think that Joe Biden is far more problematic than Hillary Clinton ever was. And people think, I've heard it said to me that it's a little ableistic, or that it's ableistic to say that Joe Biden has cognitive decline. But in and of itself is concerning. And he's not as sharp as he once was. And that's not, I don't think that it's ridiculous to say that. I don't think that it's out of line to say that. I mean, let's look at the facts here. He's in the 70s. That happens a lot to people who are in the 70s.
Yeah. I worry about his inability to complete.
I'm digressing. I apologize. I just needed to say
that. I agree with that. I am very concerned. That was one of my concerns about Bernie as well. Like, I was very concerned about his age and his health, because old people die. Old people's health declines rapidly sometimes. like it just happens. It's a natural part of life. So maybe was I ageist? I don't know, but I was definitely concerned about that. It requires a great deal of physical and mental and emotional stamina to be able to run an entire country. Right? So like I was very concerned about that with Bernie as well,
I think
and
I think that
Bernie still
age is very important.
Bernie Sharp is attacking his mind. He completes sentences, he completes his thoughts and stuff like that. So I was more worried about Bernie's physical health than and with Biden, I'm worried about his cognitive decline that is obvious to anybody that listens to him speak.
I think that we are bending over backwards for the boomers right now, who said themselves when they were young that we shouldn't trust anybody over 30 or 35 or something like that, and now they're like twice that age and they don't want to step down. And I don't agree with this might be ageist. I think it's absolutely critical to think about age as a matter of, chances of decline. And also, we're looking at, like, for example, have laws. The laws don't say, you have to be a mathematician or a lawyer or somebody with a cognitive, understanding of this or that. The only thing that you have to be is an American citizen and at least, 35 years old to run for president. So if we can have that in the Constitution, then we have to think about it carefully. Shouldn't there also be an oldest? You can participate in political life without being the president, and I don't think that it's ageist at all. If any ageist, it would be saying be at least 35 years old. Like, who's to say that you're not more mature at that time? But honestly, nobody can get rid of that. We're trying to get rid of just talk about, like, currently we have the problem, nobody wants to step down, everybody wants to continue serving when they're older, and it's time to train up the next generation and let them have it.
Pass the torch, train the young ones and then pass the torch and like retire, like same with, this is why I think that we need term limits. First of all, hold on. Anita, our friend Jacqueline, who sometimes joins us, she's a recurring guest of ours. She wants to join us. Is that okay with you? Or will that be too overwhelming with 4 people?
Okay, so you're cutting out again, but I think I caught that you want somebody else to join. And that is okay with me. But if you, whenever you guys want to directly ask me a question, please type it into chat. I did see a question in chat. But yes, please have her, if she has a question for me directly, please have her type the questions into chat because of the lag.
Okay.
So I have a question for Anita while you're bringing in Jacqueline. My question for Anita is, what do you see as being ways of, as being some of the policies of Andrew Yang that probably most Bernie supporters might also agree with?
Okay. Which policies things do you think align with Bernie's policies?
Okay. Which policies align with these policies? Well, they're very different people. They were both advocating for different things. I really don't. I personally don't want to compare them. I liked Andrew Yang, and I supported him initially because I know that Bernie. I'm going to tell you what I personally am passionate about. Universal basic income. Obviously, sports. We all like that. Here, Medicare for all is very important to me. I support single payer health care. And Bernie didn't actually flat out say that he supported UBI. As far as I'm aware, he did. An increase in age. We both do.
So Anita's coming in and out for me now too. Are you hearing her well, Annette?
No, she's breaking up for me too. But so what she was saying is that but what I did hear was she said that that she is for single payer health or Medicare for all, Bernie's style of single payer Medicare for all, and that she didn't really feel like that we couldn't really compare Yang to Bernie because while they do have Burke is joining us, so while they do have like some fundamental similarities, I think, but their policies were kind of different from each other, like 15 minimum wage versus UBI. And then I also heard her say that she did initially support Yang, and I'm not sure what changed. That's where she started breaking up. But because she wants single payer, and I think probably because Yang wants to leave private insurance and make it competitive. So if she's strongly supportive of M4A, that's not Jacqueline, but
Hi,
Anita,
Burke.
this is our friend Burke. He's on the Yang Gang Report team with us, and he's running for assemblyman in Las Vegas, Nevada. So he's running for office right now.
Hello, how are you?
Anita's having a very hard time hearing us. Okay. We keep breaking up for her. So we're having a host of.
Burke, do you want to weigh in on some of the issues we've been talking about?
Well, I could point out that I have no idea what any of the issues are. I just saw this on the stream and jumped in, so I have no idea what you guys have been talking about for the last 53 minutes.
So we're talking about, here's one of the questions we've been talking about is, now that both of the candidates have suspended Bernie and Andrew, we're trying to create some sort of unifying, we're trying to find the unifiers between our two movements because we both think of them as being movements of the people against the establishment, for example. So we should have a lot of things in common. We're all Democrats. They were running for the Democratic Party. We're all sort of progressive. We all want to do Medicare for all. We all want to have, what were the other things we found that were in common? We want to make sure that there's a living wage or universal basic income. Those both use the word income, right? And just seems like we have a lot in common, but we can't seem to get together on this. And so what do you think about that, Burke?
Well, I think universal basic income and like a living minimum wage, like how Bernie wanted to go up to $15 an hour, pretty significantly different. I mean, I'll sound like Andrew. It doesn't do anything for the caregivers and all that. I mean, I'm one myself for my elderly father who's in his 70s, and he was nice enough to be a caregiver to his best friend who was also in his 70s and who suffered a stroke. And they're both here now, and I've by default become their caregiver. So I mean, I can sympathize with that. Where no, those are two pretty pretty different. It doesn't cover enough. I mean, obviously I'm Yang Gang and all that. So, and I don't want to harp on the Bernie people. But,
Okay, so we're trying to find things in which we are similar, and I find those two to be similar in motivation, in that we're both trying to provide for individuals rather than like right now during the stimulus period, we could choose to give money to the people or give money to the corporations. And I think Bernie is technically on the side of that $2,000 per month for the people, which is very, very universal basic income like, very similar.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is that I think that, well, this is like pre-coronavirus. I don't see any reason why we couldn't first install the UBI, and then I think that the raising the living wage would organically raise. It would just rise on its own because we all have money as consumers, and then so we are able to spend the money and support the businesses. The businesses are successful, and then they can hire more people, and we continue to make them successful, and then they can pay their people more, But it has to start, like, we need money in our hands in order to support the businesses, in order for the businesses to support the employees. So it has to start. Like, we need that floor.
Anita, were you able to hear? Anita, were you able to hear what Annette said and Burke?
I could hear, but I'm not sure if Anita could hear.
Yeah, this is a difficult conversation to have because Anita's not able to hear us very well. Okay, so maybe we can get Annette to put more on the screen for us. Annette. Okay. How about let's see. How about, do you think Bernie is kind of signaling support for UBI when he supports the $2,000 per month stimulus for humans over corporations? I think that's something that we have in common right now between our two groups.
Yeah, but I don't think he would want to continue it. But who knows? I mean,
Burke, we may have to ask you to pop out again because Anita is reporting that her connection is much worse now that we have one more person.
I'm actually okay with that. I have to jump off. I'm going to be on the Humanity Forward thing here in a little bit. And
okay, totally appreciate you coming in for a minute.
Oh, no problem. If anybody if they want to, feel free to go to burkefornevada.com. Check out my policies. See you all later.
Okay. I'm about to pop a question up here for everybody to see. Here's a question.
Okay, a lot of comments. Check it out.
I think we can at least maybe agree that we're all motivated to do better for our country. And we are all anti-establishment and more for the people, more for human beings doing well.
I agree with
that. And I think that's a good place to start.
Do you know how to get my chicken so I can cook it?
I think.
Do you think Bernie is low-key supporting a UBI style program with support of the 2K stimulus? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I support that. I think that more people should be getting more money.
And I also think that a federal jobs guarantee might actually be necessary after the coronavirus. Like, things just changed on a dime with this virus. And so where like tens of millions of people are losing their jobs, Bernie's FJG might actually come back into play. Like it might actually be, it might make more sense now to help bring us out of the depression that will most, or at least the recession that will most assuredly hit us very hard. So, you know, I think that we could combine all of those. I think we could combine Bernie's and Yang's and policies, and God, we'd be just downright perfect, you know? Like, why can't we just work together? There's no reason why we can't do all of those things.
It's true. I mean, we could pass a better minimum wage. It's just that we disagree on which should come first, right? I mean, we disagree that that might even be needed if we could get the universal basic income. That's mainly the problem. Nobody thinks that people should be working for $7.50, you know, 40 hours a week. I don't think anybody thinks that. I don't think Yang Gang is going to go out and say that's what should happen. No, we just believe that it won't be necessary anymore, right? After we put together that universal basic income, because we want to value work that isn't paid at all. We want to actually value people who don't get paid for anything that they do, you know, taking care of their parents, their husband, their children. That's something that a lot of women do. We get paid zero for it. And so that's really, I think, where the crux is. Now, I know that Jacqueline has a lot to say about this, but we may have trouble bringing her in right now because we're having so many internet connection issues. I'm almost thinking about, you know, letting just Annette talk to Anita. But what we can do is we can participate. Can we ask Jacqueline to maybe participate by texting us, you know, and we'll put up her texts and questions. If she could, you know, that way she can continue to participate and we could finish our conversation. So here's, after you talk to Jacqueline, I'm keeping her really busy. After she's done with that, maybe we could put in the next question for Anita. Could be, you know, which policies of Bernie's do you think she could probably convince Yang Gang to adopt? Or how could we bring them closer in some ways?
Oh, thank you. Not right now, Mom. I'm live. But you can set it down right here. Okay, thank you. My mom made me some pudding. Okay, since we're having technical difficulties.
Oh.
Okay. And then, all right, yeah. What is the question again?
So the question for Anita is, we've asked her what Yang policies are similar to theirs. What about some Bernie policies that she thinks maybe Yang Gang would be pretty excited about? If we could, you know, take enough time to listen.
I don't think there's really. She says she has to head out pretty soon.
Oh,
She can't hear us at all. So
I'm really sorry.
And
so this is not working out.
It's hard to understand just anything that
Well,
you're saying. I really
Anita,
appreciate
do you want
having me as a
to-
guest. It's just so much of a lag and the audio is so tricky that I can't follow. And I don't know if it's on my end or what it is. I'm really sorry. Faye, it was nice to meet you. thank you so much for having on. And I would love to stay connected, Faye, if you would like to as well. And thank you so much for having me on. Honored to be here. Maybe again,
You're welcome.
maybe if I do this from my computer, it might be better in the future.
I think so.
Definitely. I'm not sure because we have 3 people on. Like, get better once that other person left, because I couldn't hear anything at all. I was like, what? But we can try in the future. We can look into that more. But I just can't follow what everybody is saying. It's cutting out way too much on my end. So I'm gonna have to dip out. But I will talk to hopefully both of you later.
Bye, Anita.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. We'll see you later.
Thank you for staying as I'm trying. Okay, now I guess we could bring in Jacqueline if you want to do that now.
Yeah, okay.
Or we could end our stream, but I know that Jacqueline used to also be a serious burner. And one of the things that happened was she did leave the group. And so I think that's why she's eager to get in here. And,
yes. Well, let's.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really want to be bashing on Bernie or whatever either. That's not really my intention. It's really more about like the vote.
We're not here to do that.
Yeah, like, and I don't even really intend to bash on. I'm not like. Okay, this is another thing that this is a good point that I just thought of.
Okay.
Just because I speak my mind about the things that I don't like about someone, that does not mean that I am bashing that person. You know, it's not me bashing Joe Biden to say that he touches children inappropriately. That is a fact. That is a fact that everybody can see. If he did not do that, then we would have no reason to say such things. So it's not bashing someone to point out their flaws. It's just bringing attention to their flaws.
Yeah,
and
I
so
have that problem with Yang Gang a lot when I try to talk about something that I see as being a problem with something that Ann Yang said. I said, and then all of a sudden the whole group just, turns around and like strikes back at you like, oh my goodness. I said, well, it's okay. They're human. Sometimes they do stuff you don't like. And I'm human too, so I can have my own feelings about this, and my problem with when I'm actually more concerned when our own guys, do something that we don't like, because they need to be able to hear that, from the ground up. Because if I don't like it, I'm pretty sure there's probably hundreds of thousands of people out there who also don't like it. And it's good for him to hear that before it becomes an issue. And I think we need more like politicians being able to just say, sorry, I made a mistake. I would love to hear that from more of the politicians, Yeah,
that would be really nice. So, well, okay, I feel like we've got our point across. We're coming up on an hour here, so why don't we go ahead and bring it to a close?
Okay, have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you, everybody. You don't have any closing thoughts or anything coming up? Oh, here. If people, Anita gave me, if you would like to follow Anita, she is on Facebook. She is Anita Green. I don't know that she does Twitter. She may or may not, but I know she's very active on Twitch. So this is I don't do Twitch. I don't even know really anything about it because I don't play video games. So anyway, anybody that is watching this is how you find Anita. This is how you find Faye Koo. And this is how you find me. And if you are watching this, go ahead.
So I want to say that I'm still howling at 8 o'clock every night, and I really enjoyed that program that was put together by who put the program together yesterday? The One World at Home Together program.
Oh, I didn't pay
Lady
attention. I
Gaga.
wasn't feeling.
Okay,
Oh,
Lady Gaga was the main putting together person. And
Yes.
and she got a whole bunch of other celebrities. She got all three. She got 3 late night hosts, comedy news type of hosts together
Uh-huh.
to host it. And they raised $50 million before the program started. So they were
Oh my
able to, so they were able to say, we are not trying to collect anybody's money today. We're just going to give you a free show. And that allowed all of the participants and the organizers and the, everybody who came on, where they were all there to call for unity right now, which is what we're doing with these shows. What we're doing is we want to call for unity from the Yang Gang with other gangs. Let's get the org gang. Let's get into let's be with Tulsi. Let's stand with Tulsi. Let's be united with everyone right now. That doesn't mean you have to vote for Biden to be united. Come on, that's not what we're saying. Okay, you can be united with humanity and still disagree what you're going to put on that little ballot thing. All right, you can be human together right now. I saw Barbara Bush. I saw Michelle Obama. I saw both of them come on together side by side, talking about how we need to be thanking the workers that are out there right now, the essential workers, including teachers and healthcare workers and, grocery clerks, everybody. And, we need to just be united. I saw people at the very beginning of the show. I didn't catch all 6 hours of the pre-show, but I did watch the 1 hour live. I was watching people try to play music together from 4 different locations, each of their homes. They may have been countries apart, and they were trying to play music together, just getting sound to sync up. As you can see from these live programs that we're running, it's tough. And they were able to pull all this together and actually have their music, different musicians playing together in synchrony, from different locations. That's pretty amazing. And, I saw a whole lot of different leaders of different religious groups. They were all one at a time, one at each other, saying that we are all out there supporting people of all religions, people of all races. Your Black church is out there, giving supplies to everybody, not just Black Christians. Same thing with the Islamic people. If they open up their temple and they give out food and supplies, they're giving it to all people. They're not going to give it just to the members of their own little religious group. And so it's not time to be talking, crazy right now. Like some of our world leaders don't seem to know better. Like, come on, let's get together. Let's be in unity, and let's find the things that make us human together. And I love that program so much. So if you didn't catch it, I hope you just look it up. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. I think they live streamed on Twitch. If you brought up Twitch, they live streamed as many platforms as they could find that would take them. And so it's pretty cool. And you can put it on as background music. Some people were like, why did you text me this thing? It's like 4 hours long. I was like, well, you don't have to listen to the whole thing, but you might find some of your favorite performers. If you love opera, that's in there. If you love bluegrass, that's in there. If you like, any kind of music you like, somebody probably represented you and put some music in there. So it was pretty cool. I just thought it was a really, really nice thing that people are doing right now. So
cool.
Thanks, Annette. Thanks for letting me get my final word.
No, great. I'm glad you did. All right. Well, then I bet that's not all. Believe it or not, we're not going to go 2 hours. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go take a nap. I don't feel good.
Okay.
Everybody
in the background.
And we will see y'all next time around. Peace. YGRL. Bye, y'all.